Okay. Hi, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, then my name is Manon. I'm a programmer, horsey girl, and a knitter, and that's what this channel is about. And if you're not new here, you've come back, then thank you so much. You're the best. I've got little Archie here. He's in a sweater that is not. Oh, and now he lies down, but he feels very sorry for himself because I just went to the stables after work to feed the horses. It wasn't for long, so I thought I'll just take the dog with me. We went in the car. Normally I cycle there, but I had to bring some more horse food, and a 15-kilo horse food bag on the bike is not a great idea. But I thought I'll take the dog with me. But then it rained really, really hard. Even though most of the stables are inside, it got quite wet. And so Archie felt very, very sad for himself, and he got quite wet, and he was trembling, and so I wrapped him in a horse blanket while we were there. I'll insert a picture. I took a picture or a little video of him feeling very, very, very sorry for himself. But so now he's wearing his little sweater so that he dries up a bit. Archie, do you want to show you the little sweater? It's a little sweater that one of my friends got him, and the hood can be pulled over his head, and then it's even cuter, but it falls off. So yeah, this is Archie's not knitted sweater. In fact, I wanted to talk today about knitting plans, like autumn knitting plans, and there is sort of a dog sweater in there, but some of the yarn that I want to use this autumn has not been delivered. Ordered it 2 weeks ago and still nothing. Customer service of this web shop is just abysmally bad. Anyway, so we'll have to do that next time. But then I'll tell you about a little sweater I want to knit for Archie next time as well. I don't have the yarn for that one yet, but I've had my eye on the pattern for a long time. Spoiler alert, it's free, so you could be knitting it too. Could make like a knit along dog sweater thing. Anyway, let me know in the comments if you think that's a good idea. But that's it about the dog. Today I just want to do like a little update. I've got one finished object, this one, and I've got some progress on one of my other whips. We're still not talking about the Agneed cardigan. It's still in a project bag. It has not moved. That's about it. So it's not going to be very long, but we're going to have to discuss this one quite extensively. This is the Amy Slipover. It's a pattern by Sandnes Garn. It comes in one of the Sandnes Garn booklets. I'll include a link down below of the web shop where I got it, where they still have it, as far as I know. I'll double check. And they ship at least to all of Europe. They might ship to the US, I'm not sure. But so if you would like this pattern, then you have to buy the booklet. They don't sell the pattern just by itself on Ravelry, unfortunately. So yeah, that's one downside, but then you get a booklet with like 10 patterns in it. So I'm not sure I will ever knit any of the other ones, but it's good for inspiration. I have knitted this one in knitting for olive merino paired with the knitting for olives of silk mohair. This is my first time knitting with knitting for olive yarns, and I got hooked straight away. So there we go. Now I've bought a lot more of it already for future projects. The merino is in colorway Bordeaux, and the mohair is in colorway Claret. I think I've got them. Yeah, I've got them here. This is Bordeaux. In the light now, it looks quite light, but it's quite dark. And this, yes, it focuses. This is Claret. Once again, the light makes it look just a little bit lighter, but there we go. This is a bit more what it looks like. And I really like this one, but I thought it was going to be a little bit too red, and I wanted something a little bit darker. And Knitting for Olive has those lovely videos where they show you all the different combinations between the merinos and the mohairs. And I saw this one and I fell in love. And so that's why I got these. Yeah, really beautiful. The colours in the videos of Knitting for Olive are pretty true to reality, at least for how bright my phone setting is set. It's, I don't know, I think average. But yeah, so if you see those and you're wondering, are they like lighter or darker in real life, they're about right. So you can definitely trust those. And I've looked at it for other little samples I've knitted with different yarn combinations from Knitting for Olive, and same thing. It's pretty true to colour in real life. So that is lovely. So that is for the yarn. Then construction wise, you, what is it called? Cast on, just with a normal, simple cast on all the stitches at the back. There is no gradual increases for a trapezoid shape or anything. It's just completely straight. And you start to knit down, and then you increase just a little bit on the side for the arms, and you continue knitting down. You knit the ribbing, which is a 2x2 ribbing. You bind off. I'll get back to bind off methods for 2x2 ribbing in a bit. Then you pick up the stitches on one side, you start to go down up until the point where you would join in the middle, then you pick the other side, do the same, join in the middle, and then continue the front. And there's one small modification I did there. So in the pattern, it says there's two modifications about this part, in fact. Let me start by the beginning. You're supposed to, I can't remember how many stitches you're supposed to pick up at the shoulder, but it's really not a lot. So the ribbing for the shoulder and the ribbing for the collar in the original pattern are almost touching. They're very, very, very close together. There's quite a few projects on Ravelry that mention that they picked up more stitches and then cast on less stitches in the middle to compensate for that. And I like the look of that. I sort of went with sort of a middle thing. Lots of people pick up, I can't remember how many it is, but 15 or even 17 stitches on the shoulder instead of 7 or whatever it is in the original pattern. And I sort of went for something in between those. I can't remember the exact number, but I'm in between what most people do on Ravelry and the pattern. And so I did that to have slightly wider shoulders because my shoulders are relatively wide for my body. And then the second modification that I did is that in the pattern it says to shape the fabric being able to join in the middle, they do the increases on the outside, which I did at first, and then it looked wrong, and the fabric was doing weird things when I joined in the middle, and I think I knitted almost 10 centimeters, and then I was like, nah, it's just, this is gonna come back and bite me in the butt if I leave it like that, or I'm gonna regret it, I'm gonna finish this, and then I'm never gonna redo it, and that's just too bad. So I frogged up until the point where the increases started, and what I did is I added the increases here in the middle. So I think there's like 1 or 2 stitches from the inside. I added them, and I don't know if this is going to be visible. I'm going to have to move the dog. Give me 1 second. Archie is a little traitor. He's decided to go outside. Anyway, outside, as in outside of this room, not outside, because it's dark outside. It's the first time I'm actually filming this knitting podcast, and it's dark outside because I'm filming a little bit later than I usually do. And it's very much autumn. It's raining. It's dark. It's windy. It's perfect knitting weather. Anyway, where was I? Increases. Oh yeah, I don't know if it's going to be visible. You can just about see here where I left the stitches, and then just along the edge I added stitches here. This is quite hard because it's reversed on the screen. But there you go. to get this effect of like this little stripe of stitches running along the collar. And I think this is a much nicer effect than what is described in the pattern. I don't know if I have pictures of how it looked before when it was how it was supposed to be in the pattern. If I can find pictures of that, if I've taken pictures of that, I'll include them, but I'm not sure I did. Anyway, you can trust me, it looks better. So that's what I did for there. And then you just keep on knitting. You do the same thing as with the back, where you add some stitches in the front. I can't remember if it's just as much as for the back, but it's quite similar. And then you continue knitting down to the hem, which is 2x2 as well. The front piece is a little bit shorter than the back, which is what the pattern suggests, if I'm correct, and which is what I wanted as well, because then, I mean, when I stand up, they look almost even, but there's a small difference. But when you see them just hanging, you see quite a big difference. So definitely recommend not knitting them the same length, but knitting the back one a little bit longer. Then you pick up all along the edge. It's a crochet cast on as well on each end for the ties. And I absolutely hated the crochet cast on the first time. The second time I was a little bit more okay with it. It's just a different movement. It's just something I wasn't used to. That's why I didn't like it. It's not that it's bad or anything. It's actually quite good because it's relatively sturdy. It's just elastic enough for ties without being too elastic. I think it's a right thing that the pattern says to do. And then another modification I did is that I wanted the ties to be this wide, but I wanted the shoulder piece to be wider than the ties. What I did is I added 6 turns of German short rows in the shoulder piece. And on one side, I think I talked about that in my last podcast. I did the German short rows. Probably see, I think it's the other side. Yeah. On this side, I did the German short rows very close to the edge. And so before blocking, you could really see where that had happened. There was like little bumps where I had, well, added rows. And so for the other side, I decided to do that a little bit earlier, like almost in the middle. And before blocking, I could still see little bumps, a lot less. So it was better. But if you were to knit this one and you want to do the same modification, I would suggest that you do your short rows, a little fluff, as close to the edge, the pickup edge, as you can, because it's going to look nicer than along this line. And that's it, I think. No, that's not it for my modification, because the original pattern has a mock neck and I wanted a folded neckband. One, then I wouldn't have to bind off a 2x2 rib again, which is not as bad as I make it sound, but it's still not amazing. And I just think this looks better. A mock neck would have felt a bit warmer without necessarily being much warmer, and I want this piece to be relatively versatile, so not wait until it's really cold to wear it. And the mock neck is perfect. I followed the stitch pickup rate. I mean, for the front bit and the whole back bit, it's just 1 stitch in every stitch because those are flat. And then for the side bits, I like the slanting and the vertical sides of the knitting where you pick up. I followed the pickup rate that is used for the shoulder pieces. I think that's 3 stitches in every 4, if I'm not mistaken. And that turned out quite well. I mean, it's not standing up, it's not too tight, it's nice and elastic. I can easily fit it over my head, and I've got a big head, so I mean that says something. And yeah, I'm really happy with how it looks. I hesitated about doing 1x1 rib, but I wanted it to fit with everything else, so I just went with the 2x2 rib. fabric wise, I love it. Another compliment to Knitting for Olive. It's very light. It's almost light in a way that I'm like, is this going to be warm enough for winter if I knit a sweater in this? Not 100% sure, but we'll talk about that in autumn knitting plans that are sort of going to spill a little bit into winter. And it's incredibly soft. I blocked it yesterday, so I finished this during lunch and it was sunny. It was not going to rain. And I was like, this is my moment if I want to be able to film the podcast. This is the time. And so I washed it, put it on the blocking mats, put it on the table outside in the sun so that it could dry during the rest of the afternoon. And when I brought it in before going to the stables yesterday, start of the evening, it was almost dry. And so it had the night inside to dry a little bit more, but it was perfect. So that also says something about how thick the fabric is that it dries quite fast. I mean, there was sun, but it's autumn. It's not super, super warm. Just, I was going to say just yet, but not anymore. It's autumn. It's not summer anymore. So let me stand up and show it to you. I mean, I'm on the slanted roof, so I have to crouch a little bit so that you can see it. And I forgot to put the washing away. I'm sorry. Oh, it's not too bad. You can sort of see it. It's like a weird long t-shirt. It's actually a t-shirt that I got married in because I went for a very relaxed look, very nice white pants, but a very relaxed, simple t-shirt. This is the Amy Slipover. And it could have been, okay, if I'm being very picky, it could have been just a little bit longer, just like here, but I could block it so that it is just a little bit longer. As if I lift my arms, then it gets very close to where most of my jeans will hit me, although I don't have any other jeans that go lower than this. So why do I have fluff everywhere? Anyway, could be just a little bit longer, but as you can see, the back is nice and long. I like that the ties are not too thick, and also while knitting it, if you are knitting this while you do the front and the back increases, to me it looked like it was gonna be tied right here, really in my armpit, and I was a little bit scared, but I decided to trust the pattern, and I was right because it's just the perfect spot. If I try to put a tight jacket over this will show, but okay, I can't wear a tight jacket over it. That's it. Don't really wear blazers anymore. I got lazy. I wear jumpers and cardigans now. So yeah, I really like it, and it's got very, very nice drape. It's good, and I like that I did the shoulder pieces just a little bit longer. It causes just a little bit of, I don't know, I'm not sure what to call this, excess fabric here. So maybe I should have done the short rows starting a little bit higher and not starting them here. Okay, something to know for you if you want to knit this one next. I don't think, I mean, I would knit this again, but there's so many lovely patterns out there that, if I'm being honest, I don't think I will ever knit a pattern twice, apart from maybe the Sophie scarf, because it's a really easy gift knit, and even that I think I will probably try different patterns with different motifs and stuff like that. So yeah, I can highly recommend this one, but if you can't get your hands on the booklet for this one, then there's quite a few other vests like this, and I discussed quite a few of them in my pattern roundup for autumn patterns last week. I'll knit that. I won't knit that one in the description. I will link that one in the description down below. So if you're interested and you can't get your hands on the booklet, then there's other options, and they look absolutely lovely. One of them, I even wish I knitted it instead of this one. But I discussed that. I'm not going to talk about it again. I talked about that last week. So I think no, that's not it. Let's talk about costs and how long this was on my needles for. And I've got a very nice Excel sheet for that. But I need to add the finished date, and then it will calculate for me how many days that was for. So I finished it yesterday. What day is it today? I'm recording this on the 11th of September, Thursday. So yesterday is 10, 9, 25, and then there we go. Spent quite a long time on my needles. So I casted this one on the 26th of June of this year. And so I finished it yesterday, so 10th of September. So it's been on my needles for 76 days. I thought it was shorter than that. Disclaimers though. I've knitted a big part of my champagne cardigan during that time. So this was a bit of a side project because I really focused on the champagne cardigan. I just wanted something that was quite small so I could easily take with me as well. So I had started this one. And then in the last few weeks, I had also cast on my other whip that we're going to talk about. And I worked quite a lot on that one, apart from last week when I decided this needed to be finished. And so I refocused on this one and finished it. So yeah, 76 days is more than I thought it was going to be. But there we go. This entire project, so both the yarn and the pattern, which is an entire booklet. So until I knit another pattern out of that booklet and then I can halve the price, the entire booklet was like €9.25. And then if you add the yarn to that, then the total cost of this project is €66.25. And I will add the amount in dollars as well on the screen. So it's not super cheap, but I modified quite a few things to be kind of what I wanted and the right fit and everything. It's premium yarn, it's knitting for olive, it feels really nice, really soft, it's super versatile, it's a colour I absolutely love. So is it okay? Yes, it's okay. Of course it's okay. I mean, €66 for 76 days of enjoyment. Not that I knitted every day on this, but you know what I mean. It's not too bad. So it's great. And so that is for the 4 balls of each yarn. However, I've got, I would say, at least half, if not 2/3, of the last balls. So it was 8 balls in total, 4 mohair, 4 merino. But there's some left on this. Not sure how much I can do with this, although there's quite a lot. It could be part of a scarf, but I think I would need like some more to have enough for a scarf. I don't know what to do. Maybe for tiny colorwork projects, like in mittens or something. I need to look for projects, what to do with spare yarn, because it's starting to pile up. Just display it, that works as well. Anyway, I think this is then actually it for the finished object. I can still talk. It's the end of the day. I can still talk. This is next morning, so the morning of the day that this is going to go live, and I just realized that I forgot to say anything about how I did the bind offs of the 2x2 rib. So here we go. Got it here. And I talked about this in previous podcasts, but I didn't quite explain what the bind offs were, I think. Anyway, in the pattern, it says to rearrange the stitches on the 2x2 rib to 1 by 1 on the very last row, and then bind them off with an Italian bind off. I did that on one, and it's this one. And I don't know if you can, it's not super clear in this light, but to me, you can sort of see the end of the bind off of the ribbing is sort of a little bit twisted because of this. So I didn't really like the look of that. So what I did on the other side is I tried a different method, but I was not 100% successful, I would say. So parts of it look okay, and then parts of it look a little bit wonky because I don't know what I did, but I did not do what I was supposed to do. And then, of course, there's the 420 stitches ties thing situation that needs to be bound off all along it. So I looked up a few different ways of doing this, and I'll link a video down below of the one that clicks for me with how to do an Italian bind off for 2x2 ribbing. So yeah, one method is to rearrange to knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, and then you can do a normal one. Then you can do the version that I used and that I ended up liking quite a lot, which is you work your Italian bind off just a little bit different, so that you do the Italian bind off, which is first you work a purl stitch knitwise, and then the second time you work it purlwise, and then you drop it. And so you have to do a little smart thing because they're 2x2. And then the third method, which I did not use for this, but which I would recommend if I did this again for the hem, because that would look good, is you rearrange them in such a way that you sort of split them into double knitting, and then it becomes like a tubular bind off. And so it becomes a little, like this little bump. And I think at the hem, that would look nice. On the ties, not so much, because then you would have one side of your tie would have this little bump, and then the other side would be flat. So for that one, I'm really happy that I did what I did, but just something to know. And these three methods are explained in the video that I will link down below, so you can check that out. It was very, very helpful. I can't remember the name of the lady that explains it, but she explains it really well, and then she redoes all the steps slowly, and gradually she goes a little bit faster, so you can really do it along with her. So you start first with the setup steps, and then you start very slowly so you can get the hang of it, and then bit by bit you go a little bit faster, and then by the time she's done explaining it, or you get to the end of the bind of how you should do that, you can pause it, you can just keep on going because you've done it quite a few times together with her. So absolutely lovely. So that was that, and let's go back to past me, yesterday me, for the rest of the podcast. And then quickly moving on to I've got 2 whips left, but we're not talking about the Agni cardigan because that's just hibernating at the moment. And what I have and what I want to focus on finishing next is very much a summer project. This, it barely fits, is my Hawaii top. So it's a beautiful pattern by Chandails Cardigans, and the idea was to finish this while the weather was still nice, and that's why I worked on it for so much time. And then since, was it a week and a half, the weather has just turned, and I realized I was not going to finish this before autumn. Still want to finish it because otherwise it's going to stay in my project bag all winter, like all autumn, all winter, and then maybe in spring I will find motivation to pick it up again, and then I will have sort of forgotten. What if my tension has changed by then? It happens. So I'm going to finish it. I'm almost there. It's just that 2 weeks ago I posted on Instagram that I had finished all the rows I needed to finish before binding off the back, and I was wrong. I misread the chart. It very clearly says on top of the chart, this is where you bind off for the back. And I had stopped where there's the repeat for the lace, thinking, there's a stripe here, this is it. Stupid. Anyway, so I realized I needed to do, I don't know, it's like 20, 25 extra rows of lace, which is, I mean, it's a really nice lace repeat. So no problems whatsoever. But that was a little bit disappointing for myself. I now have, I can confidently say, 5 rows left until I can bind off for the back. So that will be, not drop any stitches here, but so for the back, and then on both the left and the right side, I'll add like, it's like a triangular shape for, well, to cover your boobs. There's 2 of them. And then there will be the whole bottom band in crochet and all along the edges, and I think it's I-cord bands. So it's not finished at all, but it's getting there, and I've really enjoyed. I just hit myself with a needle, but I'm still alive. I really enjoy this one. I mean, only love for the pattern and the designer. It's really great, and I just have to think of outfits where I can wear this in winter, where it's sort of showcased a little bit, because it's gorgeous. So that is that, and I think I forgot to say I'm knitting this in cotton merino by Knitting for Olive. Told you I was hooked after trying this one. Yes, I'm almost finished. I have to go for dinner. So let's quickly finish this. I'm not going to say too much about next plans, but I now only have 2 whips, so I'm allowed a 3rd one, and I'm going to cast on the Orchid Bloom pullover. I'll talk more about that next time, because I have to go down for dinner. If my husband cooks, the nice thing is to turn up when dinner is ready. Anyway, so look out for that. I will post about that on Instagram as well. So I posted my stories mostly, not really enough posts, but I'll try. If you want to follow along with that, it's yarn at the barn with dots in between all the words. And then for next week's episode, I will try to finally go and try and knit at the stables with the horses. It's probably going to be one big fiasco, and if the weather is bad, and if it's raining, you can't hear anything, because of the rain on the roof is really loud. But I'm going to try. So come back next week, Friday at 5 p.m, for hopefully that video if it's worked, and otherwise I'll talk you why it hasn't worked. We'll see. So that's it. If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already, if you'd like to follow along my knitting adventures. And thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to let me know in the comments as well what you are knitting on, and if you have brilliant ideas about anything I should knit on next. So yeah, have a lovely weekend if you're watching this on Friday, and if you're watching this after the weekend, then have a lovely week, and see you very soon. Bye bye.